The question of who owns the music rights to a band largely depends on the type of agreement that the band has with its record label. If the band has a management deal with the label will typically own the majority of the rights. Music rights are usually determined by the artist's contract with the label. For example, if the contract states that the label will own the master recording rights, the label would own the band's music rights. Likewise, if the band has a publishing deal with the label will typically own the publishing rights. For some bands, it is possible for them to retain some of their music rights. This is usually done through a negotiation process with the label that allows them to retain certain rights to the music while the label retains the majority of the rights. Often the band will sell a certain percentage of their rights to the label in exchange for an advance payment and other benefits. In some cases, the band may be able to retain the copyright and music publishing rights to their music. Other rights such as performance rights, royalties, licensing fees, etc. are usually held by the label. If the band owns their own label, then they would typically own the majority of their music rights. In this case, the members of the band would be the owners of the music rights and would have full control over them. Other music rights such as performance, synchronization, international, and other forms are owned by the label in most cases regardless of who owns the actual rights to the song. In addition to the ownership rights, the label usually has the final say as to what is released and how it is promoted. The label also typically controls the distribution and marketing of the band's music. This ensures that the band has a better chance of getting its music heard by the public. Many times, a band will sign away some of its rights to the label in exchange for additional promotional opportunities. The label then has the ability to use the band's music for purposes such as advertising, television, and film soundtracks. In addition to the music rights, there are also digital rights that must be considered. This includes the rights to stream, download, and even monetize the music on the internet. It is important for the band to make sure that they retain these rights so that they can generate additional income from their music. If the band does not have control over these rights, they may not be able to monetize their music in certain ways. Lastly, the band needs to consider the protection of their music and other intellectual property. This includes copyright protection, trademark protection, and ensuring that others are not using their music without their permission. This is an important step for bands to consider in order to protect their music and rights to it.